All right.
There we go.
I think I have to send the link, but I just sent you on the FaceTime.
Can you
Facebook.
can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Uh-huh.
Okay, loud and clear. Good. Perfect.
All right. So I have the wrong link then on
Yeah, that was the
Facebook.
wrong link. Good thing I was familiar with StreamYard because I've used it before. So you sent me the Facebook link. And let me make sure I can present on here. Are we streaming?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because I wasn't aware that it was going to be on this device. Okay, I should be able to share a screen, I think.
Can you share screen?
I am trying to make sure I can now.
Okay.
Just closing out everything, make sure I don't share nothing. All right.
How did the news event go for
It went
the
great. It went amazing.
was it at Kevin Lloyd's place? What's it called again?
Venture Suite.
Venture, yeah.
So it looks like it's saying processing. Let's see what this does. Okay, can you see that? Okay, perfect. Here we go.
All right. Ooh, I like the graphics.
Yes, yes.
You came prepared.
Yes, I did.
Some people will show up late, or hopefully someone, or not at all. But either way, we will get this knowledge out, and it's recorded, so that we can share it with our organization. And I definitely want to be cognizant of your time. And so I have you scheduled till 8. And so if anybody comes in late, then I'll just pop them in here real quick. Does that sound all right with you?
That sounds perfect.
Okay. So this is Columbus Cultural Orchestra. This is a part of our programming. And once a quarter, we do this. You're a musician, now what? And sorry, I have Xander in the background eating his food.
Okay.
We do this online event, and it's very exciting because it's very educational for our musicians. And I met Brandy at your first. Did you call me to do Keys to Black Wealth event?
Yep, that was Keys to Black Wealth 2022. Yes.
Right. She called me to provide some entertainment for their event, and I was in love. I'm like, this is amazing. Keys to Black Wealth. They were shaking their keys, and Romeo Miller was there, and she and her whole team were just dropping keys about financial freedom, about being an entrepreneur. And so fast forward, we've done a few other things where I'm doing their event again this year, which is coming up. Let me see. You probably know it off the top of your head. It's in my calendar.
February 25th.
February 25th.
Yep, 2023.
You can talk about that a little bit. And you know, Brandy, you're not a professional musician, but you are, first of all, a Black woman. You're an entrepreneur, and um, you're a professional. And so, as an entrepreneur myself, I think there's a lot that we can learn from you. A lot of the musicians in our orchestra are female, and you can talk and speak to that. And so, without further ado, why don't you go ahead and just share a little bit about who you are and your background?
Yes, yes. First of all, thank you for having me. It's the key, one of the big keys, and I'll be jumping around a little bit, but one of the big keys to building wealth is relationships. And when I reached out to you back in 2022 and you came and performed at our event, and from there, our relationship has just manifested. I support you, you support me. And that's such a big key to being able to move the needle forward. Being able to leverage each other. That's so important. So I didn't want to skim over that piece too quickly because that's such an important part of our story and how, our story just connects. A little bit about me. Again, my name is Brandy Avery. I get to serve as the co-CEO of Keys to Black Wealth. Keys to Black Wealth, we're a multimedia and edutainment brand. We combine and entertainment together to be able to deliver content, and that content is all about helping Black and brown people create, sustain, and transfer generational wealth. Our content is geared towards Black and brown people, but anybody could benefit from this content. That's really important to know because everybody should be preparing their wealth, building up their personal finances, eliminating their debt, and just all of those other things to become financially healthy. I got started in this industry 15 years ago. I was working at the Ohio State University Medical Center as the financial controller and hospital finance. And I saw closely how health and wealth is so directly connected. And that's what inspired me to go deeper into this industry. I wanted to learn the language of money. I saw people making really tough healthcare decisions based on their personal finances. And some of those decisions were life or death decisions. And then my personal story, just coming from a background of generational poverty, I saw it in my family. I saw it with my loved ones. I saw it in my community, a lot of my friends. And I wanted to be a change agent. I wanted to change all of that. And that's why I got deep into this industry. I'm now a licensed financial advisor. I've had the privilege and the opportunity and the honor to serve thousands of clients here in Central Ohio and also throughout the country. I'm local here in Ohio, but I do have a national based business. And it's just such an honor to be able to help people understand the language of money, but then also implement a financial plan, put it to action so that they can build wealth. So, and I'm just super excited to be here. I got some great stuff to be able to share with your audience today.
Awesome. And it looks like some people are viewing this on Facebook instead of like actually in the platform. But I feel comfortable in just talking to you, and I feel like we're having a conversation like we were sitting across from the table with one another. So this is dope. And so before you jump into your presentation, kind of the first thing that musicians, or I'll break it down even further with Black musicians. There's a double layer. Number one, there's a facade that musicians are starving artists. That is not a viable career option. That you can't make a lucrative living playing music. Which is ironic because you look in this Black history movie, you look at Ella Fitzgerald and Duke Ellington and Miles Davis, the richest jazz musician there was. And the music industry is the biggest, one of the most, lucrative businesses there is, and built off the backs of Black people. And so that's one layer, the facade that, musicians can't really make a financially healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other layer is being African American. Symphony musicians, we represent 2% of the orchestra across our country.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Our orchestral musicians. And so it seems like we are more involved in sports and other sorts of things. And music is kind of I don't really know if that's something I should be doing.
Yeah.
And so when you hear about that problem, and it's a countrywide problem, what is your initial thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And that's a great place to start this conversation. Debunking the myth and just really unpacking some of the things that we do see in our community from the creative community. I do believe that, number one, you can make money doing whatever it is that your heart desires. Wherever your passion lies, there is an opportunity for you to monetize your passion. That's first and foremost. I think where the artists and the creative community fall short in the area of opportunity, rather, is the strategy behind the career. I think when you choose a career, whether it's a musician, an artist, creative arts, whatever it is, a financial advisor such as myself, a doctor, there has to be a strategy behind that. And oftentimes, especially with the creative community, we're not getting into the numbers of our plan. And it's so important that we get into the numbers, which we're going to get into some of those things today. You just simply got to have your financial plan in order. And drilling down those numbers so that you can understand what's your cash flow position, right? What's your potential to monetize? What's your potential to earn? And then being able to build a realistic lifestyle. And there's growth, just like anything that you do, whether you're creative or whether you have a job, a 9-to-5 or whatever it is, and you're working your way up the corporate ladder, it's growth, right? So you're going to start in one space, one level of the ladder, one tier, you're going to work your way up. But as you work your way up, that plan has to develop. And then that financial plan has to support your lifestyle. So I think it's just really all about strategy, coming up with a great strategy, a great financial plan, and then implementing a plan of action so that you can fund your lifestyle with your art.
I love that. Yeah. They didn't even teach us in college or high school. There were not classes on financial literacy. Just thinking about that. So if I would have had some financial literacy classes, who knows? It's simple financial plan. And then probably got to start with the parents, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There is no education being taught in the classroom. We talk about that every single day. In my mastermind sessions, I host a Wednesday night mastermind session with individuals who's learning the language of money. And the interesting part about it is we're not taught, think about it. We go to school from K all the way to 12. And then even in my story, and there are so many people who can identify with my story, who's going to school, even from this college, right? You go to college and there is no financial course. I was not taught taxes. I was not taught investments. I was not taught credit. I was not taught IRS tax codes, any of that. And I went to Wittenberg University and I paid for my education, as you went to college and, you went to K through 12 yourself and you got your education as well. And in those classes, no one taught us financial education, financial literacy. So that's definitely a common thing, which is why we have to go out and get the education and the knowledge on our own. Because how can we manage our personal finances? How can we understand how money works if we don't even know the language? So it starts, with the financial education.
So you had to educate yourself.
Yep, you got to educate yourself. You got to go out and seek, seek the information that you desire. It's just like music, I don't know how to read music, I just didn't. Now they did have music classes or whatnot, but I don't know how to read music. So if I want to really become fluent in this language, then I need to go to a person like you, so that you can teach me, how to read. So it's the same thing with managing your personal finances. As a creative, you got to work with a financial advisor, a specialist, an expert, so then you can improve your financial plan.
Kind of silly question. What were you in band or orchestra growing up?
I was in drill team, so
Okay.
so I did not play an instrument. I did not, but I danced to the instruments.
What was your perception of band kids or orchestra kids in school?
That's a great question. I always felt like the band kids and the orchestra kids were just really creative, just really in like a zone of their own, really locked into their talents, their musics, their expertise. They were definitely in their own culture. You know, there's a culture there. I was, close enough to see it because, again, the band and the drill team, we were hand to hand. Again, we danced to the beat of the drums and to the sound of the instruments. But I felt like the orchestra and the band kids was definitely just kind of focused on just the music, having fun, having a good time, being in that moment. And I see that in a lot of artists and creatives that I see in our community, even people who paint and, do a lot of these things. They don't have their investments set up. They don't have their insurances, their life insurance set up. They don't understand their budget cash flow. A lot of creatives are in a cash-based business. So it's just cash, getting paid for gigs, the gig economy, things like that, but not really putting financial measures to those monies that's coming in so that they can actually properly manage their finances and build wealth.
So, and I don't know what you have planned in your presentation, but
No, we flowing, we can talk and flow together. So
all right. So, earlier you talked about a simple financial plan. What does that look like? A simple financial plan. If I was gonna, send somebody a PDF for a high schooler, to start, and they started their own band doing weddings with their friends.
yep.
What
So a
what
simple
would be the
financial,
basis for that?
that's a absolute great question. So a simple financial plan looks just like this. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's really about building your financial house, right? We all have a financial house. We all have to build our financial house. And the financial house, it starts at the bottom. You design your financial house just like you were to go out and build a brand new house, right? You're going to build it. I'm going to ask you this question, Stephen. Would you put that roof on that house first or the foundation?
Foundation.
Exactly. And this is exactly what it looks like when you're developing and designing your financial plan as a creative. You want to lay that income protection first, your life insurance. That's so important because it protects your income. And then especially with creatives, your income is derived off of your instruments, which is your fingers, your mouth, your eyes, right? Because you're using your body to be able to create and generate income. Music, you're playing a violin, right? So it's so important that you have your insurance in place. From there, you got to understand your budget, your income and your outgoing expenses so that you can understand that cash flow. There's a cash flow aspect that a lot of individuals are missing as it relates to building their financial plan. Then you also need to have your emergency fund in play because what happens if you get sick? Well, you're buttering your own bread. You make money based off of being able to play your instrument, being able to paint that canvas, being able to create that art. What happens if you get sick and you can't, close a deal or get to a gig? You got to have your emergency fund in play. That emergency fund is going to just be 9 to 12 months of your total household expenses saved up in a liquid account. This is not an investment vehicle, but it's something that you can easily grasp, get your hands on liquid cash flow. And that's an emergency fund. And then from there, getting into the middle of the house, getting into the guts, you got to have your credit and your debt in order, right? Remember, credit is just simply designed to be able to leverage, right? We're not talking about overextending credit. We're talking about really balancing your credit within your means because you don't want to get debt heavy as well because you can get into trouble. Remember, credit is debt essentially. And you got to be able to manage both of them. And then investments and taxes. See, that's where the wealth resides. You got to be able to put yourself in a position where you're making your money work for you, where you're getting some type of residual income coming in, you're compounding your interest. And that's where investment comes into play. And taxes, that's a huge bucket. And, this is something that, maybe we can come back and do a one-off as it relates to taxes. But that's a huge area of opportunity because there's tax write-offs, there's tax now positions, there's tax later positions, and there's tax never positions, and how you can structure your money and your investments to be able to help you with taxes. And then lastly, you got to protect it all. And that's getting your wills, your estate planning, your power of attorney, your durable power of attorney, your financial power of attorneys in play. And that's a basic, simple way to look at how do I get my finances in order as a creative, as a musician. How do I manage my financial house? Well, you manage it and you build it just like you're to build your brand new house. And that's a great illustration. You build it from the bottom up.
Love it. Yeah, and you know, it's crazy. You know, I teach middle school, and I don't remember talking about money as much when I was in middle school. Or the kids, they talk about it all the time, like, and they talk about it in mature ways. Like, well, whenever it's someone's birthday, first of all, they tell me their cash app. You want to tell Brandy your cash app? Okay, cool. They tell me their cash app, and they like I'm supposed to send them money or something.
Yeah.
They're trading sneakers online. They're trading sneakers online and flipping and selling and talking about dividends and you know, creating art. I know someone who a buddy of mine who creates art, and he was in high school making like $1,000 a month selling his art on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I talk a lot about the 2023 musician and the 2023 entrepreneur. It's changed with social media. Can you talk a little bit about that and your experience with using technology and the accessibility to knowledge with regards to building wealth nowadays?
Yeah, I think that's a great conversation. And that's such a big topic too now. You know, here's the thing about social media. It's such a great tool. It's allowed us to be able to move forward eons, light years ahead of time, right? To your point, there's apps and applications now where you can transact money, you can open investment accounts, you can do all of these things. You got the World Wide Web, such as TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, people, influencers jumping on, giving advice about how people should manage their money, and people are taking that advice. The great thing about social media is that it gives us access to information. The scary thing about social media is it gives us access to information, right? So it's a double-edged sword, because if you are taking this blanket statement, this advice from the community, people who may not be licensed or understand how money works themselves, then we've seen people who's gotten into financial trouble. And that's really important to understand when you're seeing this stuff on social media and you're getting involved in these apps. You got to understand that one of the key elements of building a structured financial house is making sure that there is a strategy, and that strategy is customized. That's why it's called personal financial management. It's personalized to your current financial situation. So what you may see on social media, that blanket statement, it may not apply to you, right? And then when you think about different things like apps and things like that, well, you know, we've already heard some of the things that's taking place with Cash App. The IRS is now getting involved, you know, so you can't escape taxation. You know, you can't use it as an escape from taxation. You know, it's really important that you manage your books. That goes back to that budget and cash flow, because if you don't know what's coming in and what's going out, if you don't have your profit loss statement, your balance sheets, you know, all of those different statements, your financial statements that you need to have in order, then you're not going to be in order financially. And then that's going to affect us. Again, it goes back up into taxes. So then that affects taxes. And that's how people get in trouble, right? Not paying their taxes, not even understanding how to pay taxes, not paying them on time. And then you get hit with penalties and late fees and all of those different things. I just did a podcast earlier today, and we were talking about people who's not paying taxes, and the IRS is just dipping into the bank accounts and taking their money. So when you don't properly plan, you set yourself up for risk like that. And that's just risk that we don't have to necessarily experience. The key is just working with a professional. Like I said, it just goes back to the music analogy. You know, Stephen, if I want to learn how to read music and play an instrument, I'm going to contact you. You're the professional, right? If I'm having an issue and I'm having a medical issue, I'm going to go to a doctor, an expert. What's the same thing with your personal finances? You know, if you're having issues with your personal finances, if you want to build wealth, well, you got to learn the language of money. You got to go to the expert, the people who knows how to speak that language.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because it can be dangerous. You know, I tend to think about, think twice about using giving cash out, just and TikTok. There's so much information out there, and if you're not licensed professional, I'm hesitant to listen to what you have to say. Um, so if students, if you're listening out there, make sure that whoever is on your stream is legitimate, that you're
Absolutely.
listening to. So we talk a lot about post high school into college, and side hustles is really trendy right now. I
Yeah.
think it's very popular to have side hustles. And like me, I have side hustles. Music is my passion, but I teach full time, and I do weddings on the side. And there's a lot of musicians who have just expressed that they may want to study medicine, but they're thinking of, still keeping up with their music on the side. Are you for side hustles?
Yeah.
And what is your thoughts towards diversifying your portfolio?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely am for diversifying your portfolio. And, it kind of brings me to there's 7 keys to creating generational wealth. When we think about keys to Black wealth, we're always focused on generational wealth. Number one, can you create and can you sustain, and then can you transfer that wealth? So you got your little one sitting right there. See, the whole key is for you to create, sustain this, and then transfer that wealth to your little ones sitting right there on your lap, your loved ones who's going to then carry your legacy forward. I'm all for the side hustle. To be honest with you, you got to get it right. Income is one of the 7 keys to building wealth, and your hustle is obviously how you create income. You do have to diversify. See, the key comes into, are you busy just getting ahead, or are you busy getting by? Is the work that you're doing creating the cash flow that you need? Is the work that you're doing, is that creating the income that you need to be able to level up, to move to the next level? Or are you just burning time? Because we don't have time, we don't have a lot of time here. In my Drake verse, we're not here for a long time, we're just here for a good time, right? Right? So, but while you're doing these side hustles, got to make sense. You just got to make it make sense, right? Because at the end of the day, there is still things that you should be doing, tangible things that you should be doing with your money once you accumulate it, to make that money work for you. If you're just running around and you're spending, hours on hours, and it's not generating the type of cash flow and income that's going to change your financial situation, then that's just trading dollars for hours. And you got to really rethink that and reposition yourself. And when you diversify your portfolio, your income portfolio, making sure that you reposition yourself in a space that's going to get you the type of income you need. And then even also with income diversification, passive income. I always ask people when I'm teaching and when I do my mentor sessions, it's what, February 7th, 2023, how much passive income did you make last year, right? How much passive income, how much residual income? Are you working hard for every single one of your dollars, or do you have your money working for you? Passive income is when you do it one time and you get paid over and over again, right? It's passively. I did it already, I'm still getting paid off of it. So that's something that I think that people need to think about when they're diversifying their income portfolio, is do they have passive or residual income inside their portfolio?
Yeah, And because like I tend to think a little bit differently than a lot of creatives in that,
Mhm.
I'm not the traditional like, oh, let's just make music for music's sake and let's no, a little bit of that, yeah. Like let's just make art for art's sake and let's just be in the clouds, la di da di da, and be creative. However, if I can make some extra money and build wealth for my son doing something I love, it's it's less of a la di da di da heads in the clouds type of thing, and it's more like a practical solution. It's just like a practical way to earn passive income. And like there's this thing in the arts community, like, oh, you're selling your soul.
Mhm.
I'm just like, not really. I mean, I just don't see it that way. And so, um, have you ever experienced this balance, this fight or balance to just be working your passion versus, striving to build wealth and maybe being like, I don't know, hyper focused on that part of it rather than just doing something that you enjoy?
That is a great question. And I'm so happy you asked that, especially being a creative. People do definitely get stuck in their passion, but sometimes it's not about what you enjoy doing, is what you have to do too. And it's, not being in a space of delusion. Oftentimes,
Right.
many people are, oh, I just really love this. Like I enjoyed history when I was in school. I was a history major originally in college, right? But when I start looking at the jobs and I start looking at the careers and I start looking at the salaries that goes along with being a historian, also a teacher and educator, when I start looking at the cash flow and the actual numbers, as I said from the beginning, getting down to the numbers, I was like, oh, this is not going to afford me the lifestyle that I want to live. I'm not going to be able to build a legacy. I'm not going to be able to take care of people. I'm not going to be able to give. I'm going to be a starving artist. I'm going to be, a starving teacher, a starving historian. So I had to choose a career. And thank God I ended up finding something that I am now passionate about it. But I had to choose and diversify and open up my mind so that I can look at things that would give me the lifestyle that I wanted. So that's just a choice. What do you want for yourself? Right. And oftentimes, sometimes the thing that we enjoy, great, that's great, that's phenomenal, get into that, but you may also have to diversify and tap into something that's going to actually help you build the lifestyle that you want to live. And I'm just so happy you said that, and you can do both of them. See, in the beginning you really have to fund your lifestyle, right? So then you can get into your passion. So right now you're building your wealth, you're getting your financial house in order. But then eventually, once you have it all built and you reach financial independence, and it doesn't have to be, a long-term process. It's all about when you want to get started. You can still tap into those passions, but in the beginning, you may have to very well say, okay, great. I love playing this instrument. I love painting on these canvases or whatnot. But in order for me to be a level up financially, I might have to diversify, my opportunities and get some additional type of income flowing in.
And that leads into hustle.
Yep.
Where did you get your hustle from? And when you hustling, it's because, yeah, you have a passion for music, but this is not enough. This is not the lifestyle I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta get my butt off the couch and sacrifice. I might do some things I don't want to do.
Yeah.
But I have to hustle and put in the extra work to achieve my goals. So yeah. So where did you get your hustle from?
Yeah. So yeah, I love this conversation. I love this topic. And well, personally, my hustle comes from, being a have not, there's your haves and your have nots. And again, I grew up in generational poverty, extreme poverty. So there's poverty, there's extreme poverty. We're survivors of homelessness, we're survivors of just living on the streets, and so from that standpoint, there's a hustle that naturally derives within you because you got to survive. right? But then I started getting educated. Like I said, fast forward to when I was working at the Ohio State University Medical Center, and I saw how health and wealth is directly connected with each other. And I saw what happens when you don't have your life insurance, when you don't have your investments, when you don't have your will. That was a big one when I was in the hospital done. So I started thinking like, all right, if I'm seeing this, I'm seeing it, right? And seeing is believing. I know it because I see it every single day. Well, I got to reposition myself to not be in that situation. So then it's just like, okay, what can I do? You know, whether you call it a hustle or whatever, an opportunity, what can I do to prevent this? You know, so it's preventative care, right? As well, doing things so you don't have to experience the negative aspects of life. I always say money is not a problem preventer, it's a problem solver. Right. So when you're hustling and things like that and you're creating that income, it's not going to prevent your problems from coming. More income just allows you to solve the problems. And then also it allows you to help other people as well. I think you hit such a key point. Just sometimes you just have to do things that you may not necessarily thoroughly enjoy. It may not give you the same sense of enjoyment as far as, you know, playing a musician instrument, but it may help you get to where you need as far as your lifestyle is concerned. But then also there's creative ways that you can create income where you can you don't necessarily have to be involved entirely. You know, one of the things that we do is we have a mentorship program. We have a training program. We're recruiting and training licensed agents, financial advisors, and we're showing them how to get passive income. So if you get passive income rolling for you, then that gives you more time. Now I've bought more of my time back, and now I can spend that time doing the things that I enjoy. So it's just how are you spending your time to create your income, right? And how much time do you have to spend doing that particular assignment, that particular job or task to be able to generate this income? And oftentimes I just feel like we overlook the ability to be able to create income passively.
Love that. I love it. I'm one of the, I have passive income. I don't know if you know this, but I have originally published scores
Okay.
for like high school orchestras and university orchestras. And so my music is published through a publisher and I make royalties
Okay.
in my sleep. But that's just an example of it's not hard for me because I enjoy doing it, but I just end up posting it online and people just, you know, through marketing, a little bit of marketing on social media, if people will see it around the country and they purchase it. And I remember somebody telling me publishing the biggest ways to earn passive income or to build wealth through passive income was publishing, like being an author or something, real estate, and I can't remember the third one. Publishing, real estate, and I don't know.
Yeah. So when you think about, there's basically two ways to get free, right? You got to put people to work or money to work or both of them, right? So either you create something that's going to generate income repeatedly over and over again, or you can create a situation or an opportunity for yourself where you can build and distribute products, right? So, and that's kind of like what you did. You got your royalties coming in, you publish your, you know, music, blah, 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 and now you're receiving the royalties from that. So it's really just putting people to work or money to work. But you got to have one or both of them to be able to create that passive income as well. And then also, you know, we talked a little bit earlier about investing as well, investing that money. So now that you've created that income, now what are you doing with it? Now you need to invest it so that you can compound that interest and get your money working for you. Right. So that's another aspect, especially from the creative community, you know, getting a retirement account set up. One day you may want to sit down, you know, one day you may want to have several seats and retire and relax a little bit. One day you may not be able to do your job as a creative, you know, because of the cycle of life, the body, you know, so you got to invest the money and you got to get the money working for you so that you can build a nest egg. So one day you can enjoy, you know, the fruits of your labor. So that's another big area that, you know, when you're thinking about even diversifying your portfolio, is investing and compounding that interest on your investment accounts.
Can you speak to the parents who will watch this later? Can they teach their kids to invest now? Can 9th through 12th graders invest? College kids invest now, even if it's like $20? And how can they do it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we got a bunch of parents who's going to be watching this or who's tuning in now. But yeah, you absolutely can start your child, your youth, your minor with investing. Number one, you got to get educated, right? Because you can't just be dropping your money in places. Investing is a risk. It could be risky if you don't know what you're doing. Number two, you got to work with a professional. That's what financial advisors come into play, because investing is simply a strategy, and that strategy is customized. Right. So it's not just, oh, I'm just picking this, I'm picking that. No, the financial advisors are customizing the strategy so that investment aligns. There's a plan. What are we trying to get to? What's the goal here? And that's what happens when you work with your financial advisors. And then you put the plan together and then you execute the plan of action. There's so many Zooms and so much information out there. People attend and they never execute. They never take action on it. They just get the information. They're just a professional listener, but they don't take any type of action. So you got to take action to be able to get the plan working for you. But I think ultimately, when you think about the dollars, right? You can invest based on your budget. And that's the cool thing about investing. I work with clients all the time. Some of my clients may be just starting off and they may only have, $50 to $100 to start their investment portfolios with. And I have some clients who's high net worth or mid net worth, and they can start with a little bit more. The great thing about the process is we can meet you where you are. The key is just getting started.
I love that. I kind of want to lastly, I'll say this for last because I thought it was the most critically important and imperative is relationship and building relationships. And, I hope this does not sound like bragging, but one of the things I learned early on in my career was just the follow-up emails. So many times I see some students not have the communication skills necessary because for whatever reason they're shy or they feel like inadequate enough to approach somebody maybe higher in power or something. I've never been a person afraid to ask somebody something and then say no. And so for you and your journey, how has communicating helped you to get to where you are, and what is the value of establishing relationships and being tactful with relationships, just knowing the ins and outs and the nuances of it. Doesn't always have to be a personal relationship. It can be a business and a working relationship, or it could start as a professional relationship and you end up building a personal relationship with somebody.
Yeah, that's a great question. And ultimately, your network is your net worth, period. You cannot underestimate the power. Yeah, well, I need my keys. I'm slipping on my pimping right now. I need my keys. But yeah, you can't underestimate the power of your relationships and your network. You have to protect them and value them. They are gold. Sometimes it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And then also it's about who knows you. People are speaking your name and speaking your name up in rooms and at tables that you're not even at because of your relationship with those individuals, and there's all kind of relationships that you can have out here as well. You got to manage them. You got to value those relationships because they're absolutely golden. Another aspect of relationships is mentorship. That's been a big part of, especially I would say in these last couple of years of my success, is having strong people, mentors around me, individuals who can help open some doors and speed up the process. Mentorship is the fast track to success. So those relationships can simply help you bypass a couple hurdles, right? Because there's going to be hills and valleys. But if I can have a relationship that can help me say, okay, great, we can skip that process, and we can just fast track to step, C instead of having to stop A, B, and C, we can go directly to C. And those relationships can actually help you get there. So they're absolutely valuable. Following up with people, right? And we all get busy, especially as you get, more busier, you get more relationships that you're managing, you get busy, but you just have to take that time to follow up. And I always feel like people make time for the things and the people that they want to. You got time, we're all super busy. We all wear multiple hats, but I know that those very important people and those relationships that I value, I'm going to not leave those people on red. I'm going to follow up. I'm going to have tact. I'm going to think about those people and keep them at top of mind when I'm making certain decisions, because I want the same thing in return. It's a reciprocated situation, having relationships, and relationships is just like marriages, just like date, whatever it is, whatever type of relationship you're in, you have to value, protect it, and take care of it, and have loyalty to those relationships that you're involved in. That's a big part of having a relationship, is loyalty and a sense of trust, and respect for each other, and love.
That's great. That's great. All right. Well, thank you for adding to the conversation, Xander. Brandy, can you tell us where we can find, if we want to get in touch with you, my network, our organization, Columbus Cultural Orchestra, where we can get in touch with you, your social media handles, your website?
Yep, absolutely. So first of all, I do have some freebies that I want to offer to your network. I work with adults, and adults can transition this information to the children. But I do have a free How Money Works workbook. And I have How Money Works workbook for the adults and for the youth. So anybody who wants to reach out, just go ahead and simply email me at Brandy, Brandy 19132, those are all digits, at gmail.com, or just slide into any of my DMs. I'm on Facebook, Brandy Avery, Instagram, Brandy Avery, LinkedIn, Brandy Avery as well. You might find me as B Avery out there as well, BEE Avery. But just slide into the DM or email me directly. And I will send you a copy of the How Money Works workbook. That's for the youth and for the parents. And then for the parents, I do want to offer a free financial consulting session. So just getting together, doing a financial needs analysis, and kind of just helping you put together that GPS, showing you what your financial independence number is, and just giving you a quick little strategy on how you can actually obtain and accomplish that. And that's free to any of your followers, all of your parents. I know that there's parents and students who's watching this live. Any of the parents tapping in, let's get some work done. Reach out to me directly. There is no consultation fee for that. And let's just get some work done and help you determine what your financial independence number is. And we can get started that way. And those are all freebies.
And I'm gonna double down on that and make sure that your parents reach out for a consultation with Brandy, and definitely do that. So I want to say thank you, Brandy, Avery, co-CEO Keys to Black Wealth. I'm looking forward to the event this month.
Yes.
Thank you for the nuggets. Thank you for the keys. This was really, really informational, and I'm going to be sure to recap what we talked about, our rehearsal, our next rehearsal.
Yes.
So, and if you are able and available, check out one of our Black History Month pop-up tour shows. On the 16th, we'll be at the Columbus Museum of Art.
Okay.
And sorry. Let me pull that up real quick. Sorry, no. The 16th is at the Kelton House. The 12th, February 12th, is at the Columbus Museum of Art. It's all on the Facebook page.
Okay.
And but we've been doing a local Black tour for Black History Month. February 18th, Flavor 91, and February 26th, Linden Life Fellowship Church. And we've just been spreading the art, spreading the music, and spreading the knowledge and information about Black music, and doing it from the orchestral hip hop standpoint.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, great.
Well, perfect.
Well,
I definitely appreciate you having me out, and definitely appreciate just your community and your network for tapping in. And I'm looking forward to building relationships with everyone.
all right, everybody. Good night. Good night, Brandy.
Good night.